We've all seen the various showcases of the Silent Hill 2 remake, but I really wanted to wade into the conversation myself and discuss what I think looks good and what doesn't. It may be too late by now to change some of the issues I'll mention, but I'm still quite confident that as a whole it will be a good game. Unlikely to reach the reverence of the original, but still satisfying for Silent Hill fans to at least be able to play something similar to the experiences they enjoyed back in the day. They've developed a nice layer of fog for some areas, it seems. Maybe they could have done with slightly more just to mask more in the distance and make it a bit more personal. What would be a nice addition is if the town isn't so linear, so that not every road is blocked or barricaded off, so there's a bit more to explore and uncover. Some areas look too bright. The fact there's light pouring into scenes such as this one in the hospital just doesn't give it the same feeling like you're trapped in this place. Silent Hill desperately forced you to delve into darkness, to areas you felt uncomfortable to be in because you felt there wasn't much escape from it and you had to just keep searching for something. Whereas in this version it feels like the exit is right there, where the warm, comforting light is pouring in. The original primarily worked with a washed out colour palette, so seeing such bright colours seems a little off to me. It would have worked well with a Silent Hill 3 remake, but 2 was definitely a lot greyer in tone and visuals. When I think of Silent Hill 2, I think of a clinical white aesthetic of, say, a hospital or a toilet with the white ceramic everywhere, but with a decaying aspect, whether that's rust, grime or dried blood. But so far I haven't seen anything that makes us conscious of that. This is clearly a different interpretation of the world. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just different to the original. I do think the image of the nurses with the blurred faces is suitably Silent Hill though. Now let's have a quick look at the characters.
I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it.
Angela, I feel her acting in the graveyard scene wasn't good.
Maybe.
She sounds a little too blunt towards James.
I'm not lying.
But this specific line delivery happens to be really good.
No, you shouldn't be here.
So she seems quite hit and miss, but I'm gonna have to see more to make a firmer judgment. As far as looks go, I think they should have maybe went with someone that looks more like the original, and they wouldn't have had any of this backlash. Fans are gonna scrutinise every detail. They should know that.
That's why I made these lines, these shadows. She has a kind of a Schwarzenegger mouth, and try to make her face animation a little bit uncomfortable.
Lost?
That makes her look more older.
The design team aimed to make Angela look older and opted for an older voice. The actress playing Angela is about 40.
The character is supposed to look older than her actual age. I think they've perhaps tried to do something similar, but instead of going for somebody who looks older, they've gone with somebody with a deeper voice to sound older. The graveyard scene from the remake, I'm kind of confused by. It doesn't even look like the same game comparing it to scenes from the hospital. It really seems to lack something. I don't know if the lighting's off, the motion capture of the faces just seems to look worse somehow. It's almost like this scene is from much earlier in development and wasn't meant for public viewing. Laura, pretty standard really, nothing really too worrying about the performance from what we've seen so far. Laura's character this time around reminds us a little too much of Evelyn from Resident Evil 7. That same kind of uncanny, weird face when she laughs.
See a fart face!
Laura! Laura!
The character seems older than the original too. The original character could have been maybe 9 or 10. This one seems to be more around 12 or 13. Maria, I really don't think we've heard enough from her performance to give a verdict yet. As far as the outfit goes, I don't know why they've changed it or thought they had to redesign it. It's not that it looks bad, it's that it doesn't fit the character. The character is supposed to be skimpy and provocative. I did try to shake off the criticism that her head was too big for her body, but seeing it alongside an image where someone had altered it, I can see why people would point this out. As for Eddie, we haven't even seen anything of this character, so at this point I'm worried he's not even going to be in the game. It wouldn't surprise us if they leave him out for modern audiences because his character is seen as fat-phobic or something. I'll miss him being sick in that toilet. But I really hope we do get to see him at some point and he isn't too changed to the original. James. Honestly, I think he'll be the best character out of all of them.
Hey!
Let go!
Sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Just stay with me, okay? This is no place for a kid.
He already looks to be acted pretty well.
But there's something I gotta get.
There's some nice subtle movements to his face that can go unnoticed.
What is it? Wait!
And I think just the way that he speaks sounds more like a real person.
How do you know her name?
But it'll be interesting to see how the actor handles the more challenging scenes later on in the game. I'm also glad that they've decided to go back and make his age the same as it was. Originally, I didn't like the fact that they made him older looking. Didn't think it was necessary. Not to say that the model couldn't use some more detail. And also, I've never seen anybody else mention this, but hasn't he got tiny hands? I'm sure somebody at Bloober Team's got a problem with proportions, but I wouldn't have thought it would be that much of a difficulty to try and tweak it a bit. But now let's talk about the monsters. The lion figures, I think they've done a good job with them. I would have made a comment that I don't like how they've changed the design of them if they all look like the first one James encounters, but it looks like there's a few variations, which is actually not a bad thing. I think there may well be variations of different monsters, so not every monster looks exactly the same. The nurses look too clean. They need to be covered more in dried blood and dirt to obscure some of the features more like the original. I don't think they've quite nailed the Jacob's Ladder style jerky head movement. It looks like there's too much of an effect on it, if that makes sense. It needs to look more organic, but at the same time not natural. Transitions of animations need some work. It's too noticeable when they're switching from moving to attacking, and you get that animation keyframe pop. This part in the trailer when the nurse vaults over the low wall just seems off too. I feel like they're making them too human with this. They're not the infected from The Last of Us. A similar gripe with Pyramid Head. Again, he looks too clean. He's lacking that grimy layer of dirt and dried blood covering his model. I do like that they have actually gone primarily with the original look though, and not the film version. I think Konami has realised they can't really drag the old gameplay style kicking and screaming from the original, because it honestly wouldn't be able to compete with the likes of the Resident Evil remasters. They've decided to take inspiration from those instead, which can be done, but it needs to be done carefully. You can't overdo the action. A lot of people get worried with the action trailer that was released, citing that there was way too much action and that the quick time event prompts were awful. Bloober Team seems to have removed the QTEs now, and as far as there being too much action, I think it just looks bad because you're looking at a trailer which is concentrating on that factor alone. I think the pacing in the actual game will be okay. I think they're going to have to find alternative ways to raise the tension, as loading screens between areas will give the player that pause to think about what could possibly be lying in wait behind the door that just went through. So hopefully there'll be little instances to slow the player down. I think that's what they're trying to do with the triggered events here, like the flickering lights revealing the nurse in the corridor. Otherwise, the player could just blast their way through each section without a care.
I fucking hate this town!
For that matter, hopefully ammo and health are pretty scarce to keep the player more intensely focused and on the edge. But what I'm really worried about is the PC release. And it just so happens to be the version I'll be buying. This is of course an Unreal Engine 5 game, and UE5 has been pretty notorious for shader compilation stutters, so I'm really hoping Konami can get a grip on this problem so we can experience the game out of the gate at its best performance wise and not have to hope a patch is coming to fix something that's broken. I think to fully enjoy this game, we're going to have to go in remembering that this is a freshening of the game and it isn't trying to replicate much of the original. I think if we're pining for the same game we had back in the early 2000s, but with better graphics, we'll only be disappointed.
I'll be good, I promise.
Those are my thoughts. It would be good to hear what yours are too in the comments below, and I'll read every single one. I'll hopefully be back with another video soon, so if you're into stuff like Silent Hill, why not give us a follow? I've only just set this channel up, so it'll be nice to have some early supporters. Bye for now.